You're listening to The Bryan and Gina Show, the official podcast of LA Magazine. Here are your hosts, Bryan and Gina.
Hello and welcome to The Bryan and Gina Show, the official podcast of LA Magazine. I'm Brian Bishop.
I'm Gina Grad.
And we're welcoming in, Gina, how do you know this person? This is a very interesting occupation.
Yeah, I met this incredible woman. I have been sort of on the lookout for somebody in the matchmaking business. That's not to say that my marriage is in any kind of distress. I'm just obsessed.
You got to keep your options open, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like obsessed with the idea of like the modern matchmaker. There's like Netflix has like the Indian matchmaker and Jewish matchmaker. And I'm like, people still do this. And I found this amazing woman who does this for a living. And I thought we have to talk to her.
Yeah, this is a first-class, top-shelf matchmacher for executives, influencers, power brokers, whatnot. So I want to know everything.
Yeah, and she, first of all, like this is a woman who I think, when I say anything goes, I don't want to speak for her because I don't really know. But all I can say is she met her husband on Tinder. So she gets the apps, she gets the psychology, like she gets all of it, and I'm very excited for her to give some of our single listenership maybe some useful advice.
Yeah, some tips and tricks, as it were.
Exactly. Before we get into our weekends and stuff, because I'm sure we have a lot to do, Brian, I have joined a club, your club.
Oh.
No, not the Soho House. No, not Malibu Beach House.
We have a lot of clubs, but yeah.
Not those clubs, but this club.
Oh, I thought you were taking off a wig. Oh, yeah, the glasses look fantastic.
Thanks. Here's the problem. The shirt I'm wearing today, I'm Waldo.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have to coordinate.
You found me.
You've been found.
So, what do you think?
I like the glasses. Give me a little, 8 degrees either direction. Yeah,
right.
Yeah, this is good.
I wanted to give sexy Dewey Decimal System TED Talk.
Yeah. Now, having gone to the library recently a lot with my daughter, I'm very conflicted. But that said, these are great glasses. I remember when you posted a number of them on your Instagram, and I voted. I hope this is one of the ones I voted for.
I hope it is too. Some were a little too cool for me, a little too funky. But the reason that when people are like, well, are things blurry up close or far away? And I could never answer that. And I felt like a complete idiot. Turns out, once again, Gina's right. One eye is nearsighted and one eye is farsighted.
I've never heard that. Is that common?
I don't think so. But I was like, a little bit of both and then this. And so the woman, the optometrist said, okay, here's the deal. Here's why you think you see you don't see perfectly. You think you see perfectly. And I said, what's the difference? And she said, your brain is working overtime, toggling its fast hand back and forth. Exactly. Wow. She goes, that's why you're getting headaches and stuff. And a little stigmatism. So I get a little extra light show at night. Is this the age? Is the ripe old age of 29 when this happens?
I was going to say, looking at those fine frames that you're wearing. And by the way, this is a good time to check us out on Facebook or
YouTube.
On YouTube, or you can find our videos. Yes, Gina, those are, take this in the spirit in which it's intended. Those are age appropriate. You know what I mean? Like they're. No, I'm saying you don't look like an old lady. You don't look like a crazy kid. Like you look like in the procedural of life, they would cast you as the DA.
Oh, okay, thank you. But like DA who's still got it.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. TV DA.
Thank you. Okay,
I think that's a category on YouPorn.
YouTube.com/Los Angeles Magazine videos. You got to check out these specs. I may take them off because I'm still getting used to they. And yes, I can't, I don't know, man.
So is there any hope? Is there any hope for you for contacts? I assume that's something you've done in the past.
I've never had a thing on my eye. This is the first time I've ever had glasses. I've never had contacts. I still believe I have perfect vision. My brain is just working overtime to carry on that lie.
So you're going to make life easier on yourself. Easier.
Yeah, do I need these? I don't think so. But the optometrist is like, well, last time you were here, it was not great. And this time it's worse.
It's just terrible and they can track your progress.
I know.
That's why I go to a different optometrist every time.
Like a glasses seeker.
Right. I'm a prescription shopper.
I know that this is this reference is maybe north of 5 years old, but I felt like Wilford Brimley in Cocoon going, well, I can still read road signs.
He was only like 55 in that movie.
My favorite meme in the world is showing Wilford Brimley and Paul Rudd both at 50.
That's a good one. That's a lot of fun.
So anyway, you might see these from time to time. If I'm, when we go to dinner, when I need to look at my menu.
Yeah, you don't need to look at is the bill. We're taking care of that.
That's right. Oh, it's just going to be so wonderful. Maybe have an extra dessert.
Do we have a place picked out? Do we know where we're going?
Well, we have like 3 great options and people have weighed in, between people love the classics. Again, there's tons of places in the Valley I haven't been, but people love their Castaways and they love their Casa Vegas. So, we might have to go with an old standard. I'm not sure.
We're at your mercy. So do your worst.
I can't wait. So let's talk weekend because I have no idea what you did and I have some weird stuff. And then we have to talk to this like amazing woman that's going to change all of our lives. So let's get on with it.
Yeah. Speaking of restaurants, I'll go ahead and start. Christy's parents who live close by in Westwood just volunteered out of the blue to take Tessa on Friday. They're like, oh, we'd like to pick her up and do a little baking and blah, blah, and have her sleep over. Like, can do. Thank you very much. We will take advantage with an unexpected but badly needed date night.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to figure out where to go. We're looking at all the usual haunts that we've been to, but Christy gets inspired and books us a table for 2 at a new restaurant. Hold on, I have it right here. It's Teleferic Barcelona. Have you heard of this place?
No, but that's quite a name.
Teleferic Barcelona, I believe is the whole name. It's opened up a location in Brentwood. They have a few others. I believe they're mostly centered in the South Bay. They got, I think, whatever. I'm not gonna. No, that was the pizza place that I was talking about. Teleferic Barcelona is a tapas restaurant that was, I believe, founded in Barcelona and has locations all across the country. Finally opened up one in LA, in Brentwood to be specific. So we made the short journey over there and had a lovely time. Sat outside. It was a dry night after the rains midweek. And we sat in their patio, which was lovely. It was heat lamps everywhere and very well enclosed and nice little setting. I don't know when the last time you had, I assume you've had tapas. Yeah, you've had tapas.
I love tapas. I love the small shared plate, the briny, the salty. I love all of it.
Yeah, it's great. So we, the star of the show at Teleferic is the paella. And the paella is
my favorite food. A
good size for 2, right? Like it's meant to be shared. So we decided to get a few tapas before that. And we ended up with a couple of awesome highlights: the crab croquettes, which are wonderful, and these mini tuna tacos, like a little like sashimi grade piece of tuna in there, along with avocado and all the fixings. They're probably 3 inches across, maybe 3.5.
Sure, just a couple of bites.
Exactly. And they were great. They were everything you want out of that kind of tapas dish. Then we got the paella. Gary, I believe you do have a picture of that.
Paella. I was just thinking about paella yesterday and how it is one of my absolute favorite dishes.
I know. Look at that thing with the shrimp on top and the buttery rice, almost like orzo underneath.
Oh,
and
that looks amazing.
With what's it called? The chorizo throughout and the pork. It was great.
Look at that. It's like little cubes of pork, some seafaring offerings, some that real bright turmeric, yellow rice. Oh my God.
I don't think any of us get paella enough. And this was enough to remind me of why it's so great. Just a nice dish. I made the mistake halfway through of saying, oh, this is great. We can bring some home, have a snack tomorrow. It was gone within 15 more minutes.
Yeah. And also it's tapas, Brian. It's not going to, fill you up too much unless you really over order.
Yeah, totally. So which is good. Keep that in mind, because if you go to Teleferic, the real star of the show, aside from the great paella, is Gary. I think you have a picture of this. The desserts. Now, the desserts are great. They're made in house, and they have a dessert trio, which we're looking at right here. From bottom to top, Gina, you're looking at Nutella churros, which are fantastic. A rice pudding, which is very good, and I wrote it down. What's it called? It's a Spanish tortilla. It's a Spanish French toast, and this is more like I would liken it to more like a deep fried dough almost.
Yeah,
but it is.
Sure.
It was delectable, and the ice cream goes with that because you want the ice cream with the
I'm not mad at anything on that plate.
No, even it's funny because even the rice pudding, which was good, paled in comparison to the other two. The other two were like, Kobe and Shaq, and then here's Derek Fisher. Still good, still serviceable, but it pales in comparison.
To be fair, you can't deep fry rice pudding.
Oh God, I asked too. It was great.
That looks incredible.
Yeah, that was the dessert. So the desserts are like in the range of, I don't know, $12 or $14, right?
Right.
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold.
Okay. While he's doing that, okay. So there's 3 Bay Area locations as well. So these are the
really?
Yeah, and I keep calling it Teleflora, like, when you call for the flower delivery. What's it called?
I kept calling it Telerific.
Yeah.
But it's Teleferic.
Teleferic, Mediterranean. I think in general, especially, not that there's confusion, but that when you're not really thinking, you think, oh, Spanish food. Oh, yeah, I've had Mexican.
Very different.
2 totally different cultures with 2 totally different offerings.
Yeah.
So do not sleep on Spanish food. It is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it was great. And what was it talking about?
I said that you couldn't deep fry rice pudding, although
before that.
I think you kind of could.
If only we had someone to keep us on track.
No, not meant to be.
The desserts, the everything. Yeah, it was all good. If I think of it, I'll say it.
And really you finally got your kid back at some point?
Oh no, she's long gone.
Okay.
We're going back to Teleferic tonight.
Oh, God, that sounds awesome. That was Friday?
That was Friday. It was a quiet weekend. Not that this is an actual... Hold on a second. See, this is what happens when you have a cold. Your throat starts to tickle.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst. And it does sound like you're choking, and you tell people, like, it's just a tickle, but like 911's already on the way.
And the worst part is like when I eat stuff, like I love apples. So if I eat an apple, the acid kind of like irritates the throat. I start to cough even more.
Wait, you love apples?
I do.
Like if you had a choice, you would choose an apple?
Over?
I mean, anything else?
No, in the hierarchy of fruit, I think apple is in the top 3rd for me, but it's not number 1 by any stretch.
If I said I was hungry and someone said have an apple, I'd probably start crying.
Oh, really? No, an apple's a good snack.
I mean, maybe slathered in PB.
Oh, no. An apple, I mean, that is good. Don't get me wrong. But
or with a nice slice of sharp cheddar.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're getting away from what makes apples special.
You're a purist. Okay, Adam, go ahead. Eve.
I am. That said, Sunday was a daddy-daughter day, and we spent... So Tessa is... My daughter, my 7-year-old daughter, is very athletic, but she doesn't do sports, if that makes sense. Like, she's very strong and athletic, but she has nowhere to apply it. So it's fun to like... And she's also... I don't know if this is a common... You tell me, like, with your stepson. I don't know if this is a common universal thing for kids that age, but for Tessa, her whole life, it's been when something clicks, it clicks. So it's like an on-off switch. Sure. Like a couple of years ago, she was not really interested in swimming. And then we went away for Memorial Day, and there was an older boy who was like maybe a year older than a friend of the family. And he was all about swimming. And like literally the next day, it was on. Tessa wanted to swim. And she's been swimming ever since. She's an amazing swimmer. So she just got in her head somehow, some way, maybe through, a repeated suggestion on my part. Sure. It's time to like really learn to ride the bike. Like I'm not pressuring her, but I'm like, hey Tessa, you want to go on the bike? She's like, no, not really. Like, all right, never mind. Not gonna make it a thing. But she's almost 7.5. It feels like she had the glider bike. So you're right, the one with no pedals, but that teaches you balance, and she did very well on that. So I figured it's a matter of time. Well, whatever happened. It clicked, and she says on Sunday, "Hey, Dad, let's you and me go down to the church down the street, the empty parking lot, not so empty on a Sunday, it turns out.
Yeah, sure.
And let's ride that bike." And I'm like, nice. Can do. So we go to the church. We notice a lot of cars leaving, thankfully, because it's after middle of the day. Tessa observes there's a lot of old people who go to church. I said, yes, Tessa, these are people who are making a last-ditch effort to get into heaven.
Please tell me you didn't tell her that.
I did, but I don't think she understood. Okay. Anyway, then she gets on the bike, and initially it was a little wobbly. It was a little like touch and go. She was wearing the elbow pads, the knee pads, the wrist guard, which are very important, by the way.
She have a helmet?
Of course.
Okay.
And within half an hour, she had gone from the wobbly couple of pedals to riding around the parking lot. It was a duck to water.
That's awesome.
It was a very gratifying moment for me as a dad, feeling like I did something. I really had very little to do with this other than escorting her. But
did you do the cliche, I'm holding onto the back of the seat, don't let go? And then you're like, ah.
No way, she's long gone. I gave her a little shove because the hardest part was getting going. I'll give her a little push in the small of the back. But once she got going, man, she was, like I said, duck to water. It was as though she'd been riding for a year.
Oh, she's going to be in a motocross soon.
She's a much better athlete at this point than I probably ever was. So,
that's so awesome. You just reminded me to do something that my husband and I have never done, which I think might make us incredibly neglectful parents and might make sense as to why my stepson does not ride a bike and does not have any desire to. He has a helmet. We've never invested in any other sort of padding, and he turfed out once and he's not getting back on the bike.
Oh,
it really didn't occur to me to get like pads.
Yeah, Tessa's wrist would have been pretty messed up had she not had the wrist guards.
Okay.
Yeah,
really.
I think those are, especially for learning to ride. Yeah, I think those are pretty crucial.
School of Hard Knocks, baby. Although the problem with that is, again, he's a very careful guy, which I think will serve him well. But in some of these things, it's just like, like that was... There's no way I'm going to willfully put myself willingly into that position again. And Mom of the Year over here never thought to get him any sort of padding.
Well, I think that this will play to his strengths. If he's a cautious kid, he wants to wear the padding.
Nope. Smart. I'm so ashamed and glad we had this conversation.
Okay, get on that. I heard you attended a basketball game of sorts.
We did a couple basketball games. First, Friday night was just an epic show, but in the best way, because we went to a friend's kid's birthday party at a pizza place, but not a kid's pizza place, like a regular pizza place, which was fun for us, not as fun for the other patrons.
Oh, yeah.
Felt pretty bad about that, but it was funny because these boys are running all over the place and they're going crazy and they're doing what they're doing until it's time to open the presents. And my kid, of course, brings the best present of all, which is a big giant tin of Pokemon cards. And when we were herding these cats and going, come here, stop running. All of a sudden we're like, it's awfully quiet over there. What could possibly be happening? And this is what we find. Just a bunch of boys piled on top of each other going through Pokemon cards.
Oh, wow.
So it's still very much a thing.
I was going to say, these kids are into it.
Yeah, I mean, and they were screaming and shouting, and I was like, these other poor people just wanted a slice and a salad on a Friday night. Oh, but it was a lot of fun and good stuff. Saturday, my husband's last basketball game, coaching my stepson's last basketball game, and it was adorable. They put up like 18 points. They didn't win, but I was impressed. Yeah, that was pretty good. Afterwards, there was a little ceremony where you give out the trophies and you have a hot dog or whatever you do. Andy, of course, Coach Andy, made them all each certificates. Last year, and I think we have a picture of that, last year, he made the mistake of making like jokes out of them, which we thought were funny, but the kids, I think, were a little crestfallen that it was like a joke. Now it's like, showtime, light them up. And they thought they were all badasses.
Not everything's a joke, Gina.
Well, there's a lot of confusion about that in our house. Okay. So after that game, we just went out to the courts just to mess around. My husband and my stepson always find a pickup game. That's their thing. And that's normal. That's like every day. But what I wasn't expecting on this gorgeous, finally the rain had stopped for 5 minutes day, the pickleball court, oddly enough, full of like these big gangster dudes, awesome dudes playing pickleball, bumping 80s music. Now, nice. I was literally, VR's got nothing on what I experienced. I was set down in the middle of an 80s movie montage. Check this out. You tell me I'm lying. Bumping.
Yeah. They are working out to a score.
It was, and every song, Sheeta Easton, every...
Was that Bella DeVoe? Or that was like some... Okay, I'm not
honestly,
sure that was.
Some of the songs felt very...
New
like
edition?
License-free. I don't know, but they mildly recognizable. But it was a bright, sunny day, basketball courts full, and just the like electric Boogaloo Breakin' 2 soundtrack. It was
great,
fantastic. Sunday was the big day. Sunday we had to pay off one of my stepson's Christmas presents, and basically we always do a twofer with his little friend Ever, and we're going to do that again in a few weeks. We took them both to see the iconic 98-year-old institution, the Harlem Globetrotters.
Nice. Where was this?
This was at Crypto.
We were
nice. 7th row, which I made sure my stepson didn't get used to, because we're usually up near the ceiling at NBA games. But the tickets were, $90, $100 a piece. And I said, you know what, let's get down there. They'll get a kick out of that. It was every bit as good as I remember from when I was 7 years old.
God, I think the last time I went might have been around 7 or 8 or something like that. I
promise you it was. This show, it's so insane. I want to have one of the guys on so bad, or gals, because there's two badass broads, and there's one on each team. The heroic Globetrotters and the generals, who get no love. But Globey, the mascot, Big G, the other mascot, the show, Wham, Cheese, Ace, Dazzle, all the greats.
I assume this is all from memory.
Yeah.
Nice.
This was incredible. I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But like pro wrestling, I think there's a script to it.
The outcome is predetermined.
Which is crazy, because it was looking hopeless for the Globetrotters near the end, and then it was all tied up, and it was like a nail biter. But if I can just say, not to spoil it for everyone, but the choreography is outstanding.
I can only imagine.
It's incredible. And then they do jokes in the middle. They hold up a sign and you have to yell, change the game. It's like, time out. We need a super fan. He's going to do the hook shot for a jersey. And it is so much fun. There is so much antics. These people are true athletes. And I said this to Andy, which I thought I was going to get the world's biggest eye roll for, but he totally agreed that, I think just calorie for calorie, the Globetrotters burn way more calories and work way harder cardio-wise than an NBA player.
Oh, I can see that.
He goes, absolutely. There's literally breakdancing in the middle of the show.
Yeah, they're when they should be standing around on defense, they're doing things.
There's no standing around. There's reverse pull-ups after a dunk. I do have to show you this one guy that I'm obsessed with, though. I'm obsessed with all of them. But this dude, Dazzle, is Polish. And
are they all named after My Little Ponies?
There's Cutie Pie. There's
Shutterfly. Yeah.
Exactly. Wham and Cheese were my stepson's favorite, but Hot Shot. He's a little person who could shoot like an MFer. It was amazing. But Dazzle, I can't stop thinking about because I was like, he must have like a circus background. This is something you have to run, not walk to YouTube for. YouTube.com/Los Angeles Magazine videos. Check out just this one thing. He did so many crazy things, but check out just this tiny one thing he did with the spinning ball. Double spinning ball
into a full-on flip.
And he's like double jointed, and it was like doing the spinning ball through his splits. I mean, circus craziness.
Well, the boys must have been in heaven.
They were going insane. I said the only thing is, I know you guys love to go to NBA games, but this is going to ruin NBA games for you. Like, where's the bucket of glitter?
Yeah,
and you're going to pull. You're not going. I don't think LeBron's going to reach into the ref's pants and pull out Rick and Morty underwear.
I was going to say the fundamentals are boring.
Thank you. But it was super fun. Craig Robinson, who I think hosts like a TV show for the Harlem Globetrotters. He was center court doing bits and having fun. I think I saw Matt Walsh, who we've interviewed.
Oh, fun.
But it was awesome. I mean, I highly recommend it, especially for kids who you think are too jaded to get off their switches and enjoy something in person. Tessa would have gone crazy. You don't really have to care about basketball to think that this is the greatest show on earth.
Yeah, it's a show. And I love they're incorporating the female players. This is great.
Yep. Yeah, it was. Yeah, Ace was the female on the Globetrotters, but the poor generals. I mean, I get it. If you auditioned to be part of the act and they said, good news, you made it. You're a Washington general.
You made the show.
Wouldn't you be a little sad? Like, everybody hates you. You never win.
Is that like their practice squad where they eventually will call up players to the big show from the generals, or the generals always the generals?
That's a very good... Brian, you might be a genius.
I mean, I am, but I'm not for that.
That's really funny you should say that, because whenever they show clips and stuff, I'm like, I feel like there's so many more Harlem Globetrotters than what we're seeing. So you think they switch back and forth?
Well, either that, or they will once a Globetrotter moves on, or once there's room on the team, they'll call up someone from the generals. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, you're all part of the show.
Oh, I gotta know. This is because there is a real difference between, the love that the Globetrotters receive and the vitriol. The poor generals are just the ne'er-do-wells, and they get no respect. They're great players, but they also, you know what they're a little light on? Defense.
Oh yeah, I'd imagine that's not the strength of their game.
Yeah, they get plowed through, spin move, under the legs, a lot of standing around. Like I yell at the kids when they play, are you in the game or are you watching the game? We
know the answer when it comes to the Globetrotters.
Yeah, but super fun. I mean, obviously they travel all over the country. Even if you're just wanting to do like a goofy adult date, or go with your friends, it is so much fun, so worth it. My only advice to you, though, is if you even want a chance of getting an autograph from them, you better leave before the buzzer, because we got there, it was out the door. I said nope, and then they begged and begged and begged, and then I played the card. I said, it's this or McDonald's, and then we were already in the car.
You played the nuclear option.
Yeah, because I was not going to wait for 3 hours for Wham and Cheese, although I respect them.
Green eggs and a wham.
A Wham and Cheese sandwich.
That's
so it was
right.
awesome. I didn't dress up. I should have dressed up. I didn't wear my glasses. I should have worn my finest jewelry, though. I will absolutely remember to do that next time, because without Alex and Ani, who are we really? Hey everybody, what's up? It's Gina Grad. And when you're searching for the perfect piece of jewelry, it can be hard to find a brand you trust. Alex and Ani has been creating meaningful jewelry for over 20 years, designing pieces that connect you with all of life's important moments. With an emphasis on value, there is truly something for everyone. They've recently launched their everyday collection. I could not love it more. These pieces are made from stainless steel and an advanced water-resistant plating method that doesn't tarnish. It has the look of real gold. It's beautiful. I love these pieces because they feel so classic, but they have so much versatility. Alex and Ani are also featuring some gorgeous pieces that I have right here, like Black Lotus, this gorgeous Black Lotus charm necklace, and their Stay Wild pendant, and their Wings of Protection necklace that have a classic and vintage feel. See that? And of course, you can't forget their signature bangle bracelets, which I'm also wearing. And I have a lot of their stuff. I have the numerology bracelets. I have the hula dancer to commemorate a meaningful trip I took to Hawaii. From classic to bold statement pieces, Alex and Ani makes it easy to sprinkle your personality into each piece or make a truly meaningful gift for someone you care about. Meanwhile, you can take comfort in knowing that you're shopping with a socially conscious brand, as Alex and Ani has donated over $60 million to nonprofits worldwide, connecting fashion and philanthropy in an easy, fun, affordable way. Right now, Alex and Ani is offering our audience 20% off. So check their gorgeous collection out at alexandani.com and use the promo code MIDAS. That's MEIDAS at alexandani.com. Use that promo code at checkout for 20% off your order. Come and get something beautiful. So I'll know that for next time.
Hey, while we make time for our guest to show up, do you want to, I think you might already know, but I saw there's large item pickup, right? For trash.
Yeah.
Like we see Christmas trees or what have you, just sitting on the curb waiting for the trash collection to come by and get it. I saw an item that was a first I've never seen on a curb before. It was actually outside the same church that Tessa rode her bike at. So probably not property of the church, probably dropped there by someone else.
Please
But would you like to guess what this oversized item was?
Yeah. It was dropped outside the church, but not part of the church.
That would be very hard to believe.
A walk-in.
Give you a hint. Could have been filled with holy water at one point.
A hot tub?
A hot tub. Gary put on outside the church. Waiting for, I assume, the large item pickup. I don't know. There's no residential homes there. There's no driveways. I don't know. There is trash pickup.
I don't mean to get political or be an alarmist, but maybe not in your neighborhood, Brian, but there are some neighborhoods where that's just part of the sprawling estate out front.
It's part of the tableau.
That's right. Wow. Did you jump in? Just
yes,
see?
Yeah. Because it rained. As you can see in the picture, it rained. So I decided to take advantage of God's hot tub, as we say.
Wow. How did it get there? Who put it there? Why? Why there?
I will likely be back there today, picking up my daughter from school. So I will let you know if it's still there.
I'm dying to know if there's still a hot tub sitting on the street in front of the church. Okay, good. So our guest is here. Let's take a break and get down to business with a real live matchmaker. All right, we're back with somebody I have been very interested in talking to, and I know I speak for all of the listeners who have all of the questions. Claire Wexler, you are a dating coach and a matchmaker, and I thought this was like a vestige of the past, but oh no, the industry is alive and well. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, matchmaking is, even with all the proliferation of dating apps, matchmaking is stronger than ever. People are looking for real connection. And, you know, when I started 18 years ago, there weren't that many matchmakers. When I would tell people I was a matchmaker, everyone's point of reference was, oh, like the Millionaire Matchmaker, because That's all there was, right? Everyone knew the show. And I'd have to say, no. But now there are so many different kinds of matchmakers. There's almost one for every kind of person. So the whole industry has really grown.
I would imagine it's actually more necessary and needed than ever because you have to help people navigate this maze of dating services.
That's totally true. And, one of the more interesting things that is kind of a recent development is a lot of matchmakers are actually offering a service where they help people. They actually take over your dating profile, your online dating profile, and they manage it. So they are doing the communication there. Yeah, it's kind of
wow.
Yeah. Feels bordering on sketchy.
Yeah, a little might have an ethical person being like, okay, good news and bad news. Yeah. I fell in love with your matchmaker and I thought it was you.
Very Cyrano de Bergerac. I think the point with that is honestly, the problem, the dating apps are so vast that to try to kind of filter it down to people that would actually be a good fit. I think that's really where they come in. And then they try to transition it back as quickly as possible to the real person.
So how did this start for you? Because I mean, I imagine, there's a need for it, but, like we said, it kind of didn't exist. I mean, it was, when we think of Millionaire Matchmaker, I'm old school. I'm like, you mean like Fiddler on the Roof, like a matchmaker? So how did you get involved in this?
Well, you're right. I mean, it's a strange career path, right? And it's not certainly one that I didn't set out to be a matchmaker, but probably about 20 years ago, I had just broken off my engagement and I was shopping at Barney's. Remember Barney's of New York? I was shopping. And this woman was following me around the store. Everywhere I turned, she was like there. It was kind of creepy. And finally, she was like, excuse me, yes. And she said, I'm a matchmaker and you have the look that this client of mine would really like. And I honestly, at the time, I kind of thought she was like a madam, and I was sort of like, okay, well, thanks.
Do you have a passport and loose morals?
Maybe an extra more organ. I don't know. So, I didn't really know, but over time, she and I became friends. She actually introduced me to a couple of her clients. And after a while, I was doing personal styling at the time. She said, hey, why don't you come in? You can help all our clients look better. It'll make us easier for us to match them. And that's kind of how I got into it. And then, after a while, they would ask me to fly to Atlanta or North Carolina, interview these women. And I just found out I had a knack for it. I had a natural way of kind of knowing who would fit with who. And it kind of grew from there.
Wow. Okay. Many questions. Your clientele these days, 50-50, more men than women, other way around?
Historically, matchmaking worked really well for wealthy men who were really picky and looking for really beautiful younger women. Now I feel like there's more and more successful women who are saying, listen, I don't want to just be in the pool where maybe you match me, maybe you don't. I want to be in the driver's seat and I want to find someone of my caliber. So I would say it's more 50-50 now with men and women.
And how do people? Go ahead. I was how do people find you? Like how does a client or clientele employ your services?
Yeah, walk us through the process. I don't know if it changes, how much it changes person to person, but if you could just kind of take us on the journey with you, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. So, I've worked for a few different companies, but I would say that kind of how it generally works is, clients usually find you, it's either through referrals or sometimes even Google. And someone comes to you and you do a pretty in-depth interview process because you really have to find out, can I help this person? Are they coachable? And do I believe that if I find the person that they're looking for, that this person would like them too? You've got to really be realistic in order to have long-term success and keep doing this, because it's easy to just say, oh, sure. Yeah, no problem. But, you've got to really be realistic. So a lot of it is asking someone and getting a real sense of who they are, what's their life like, and what are they looking for? Really, what are their non-negotiables, their deal breakers? Mm-hmm. Politics has become a huge deal breaker where it never was before. It never was in the past that you'd ask, say, someone, okay, you're a Democrat. Okay. You'd never date a Republican. Yeah. And now that's a deal breaker for most people I speak with.
Wow.
Question, is that more of I'm totally generalizing. Is that more of a deal breaker for women or for men, or is it across the board equal?
It's across the board. Now, you have to remember too, I only work in California. So if I worked in other parts of the country, like Texas, maybe it would be a very different, deal breaker. But the number one deal breaker I get is Donald Trump supporter. That's the number one deal breaker I hear from people. They prefer an axe murderer, actually.
Do you ever get the other direction? Like, I need a woman who's a Donald Trump supporter?
I personally haven't gotten that. I'm sure some matchmakers do. I'm sure just there's people on the other side of the aisle that feel just as strongly,
Yeah, but like you said, regionally, you're going to get what you're going to get.
Gina, MAGA dating service.
Hey, don't quote me on this, but that might exist already.
That might exist.
Yeah.
It probably does. Maybe Donald Trump could launch that.
Make a girlfriend great again.
That's right. There you go.
Thank you. So you do the initial intake, which I imagine has to feel a little bit like therapy because you're really getting to know somebody.
You really are. You're really asking a lot of those in-depth questions and really finding out, really what makes someone tick and really kind of trying to read between the lines and also understand what their past experience with love is. I think one of the things I'm kind of been pivoting towards is how, listen, I do think matchmaking is amazing if you can afford it. But to be honest with you, it's very, generally most matchmakers charge between $25,000 to $50,000. So yeah, so it's definitely, it's an expensive proposition.
Yeah.
For people who have the money, it's great. But I truly believe that you can find love on the dating apps if you're willing to invest the time.
I was going to say it's more of a time investment.
It is, but it's like if you really wanted to get fit fast and you had a lot of money, then sure, hire a personal trainer. They're going to get you fit fast. They're going to get you in a nutrition program, and you're going to get results. But that doesn't mean you can't get the same results if you don't put some time and effort into your own. You just have to be willing to do it. And you also have to have a good attitude about it. I think whether you're hiring a matchmaker or you're going to go try to find love on your own, I think the most important thing is that you have a good attitude. You're coming in with an open heart. You've done the work on yourself. You know who you are. You know what you have to offer. And you are not so many people have like these negative things. Like in LA, it's always, well, all the guys just want young, gorgeous women. And, and then the guys will say, well, all the women, they just want to go, they're all gold diggers. They just want wealthy guys. When you're coming in with that attitude, I guarantee whatever you believe, that's what you're going to get. That's what
it's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
It's an energetic thing. Yeah. So do your work, know what your love story is. We all have a love story that we tell ourselves. Whether it's, wow, just all men cheat or whatever it is from your experience, from your family, from your past, from your experiences with love. You got to figure out what that story is. And you got to figure out what are you invested in making that story be true.
All right, Gina, I'm sorry. I have so many questions.
Please.
Is there a barrier to entry for your services, i.e., make a certain amount of money or whatever it is, or is it just whoever can afford it?
It's really, can you afford it? Are you a kind, intellectually curious person with an open heart who truly is looking for a committed relationship?
That was my follow-up question, which is what's the washout rate? Like how often do you say, I'm sorry, I can't help you, or some version of that?
I mean, it's hard to say what a percentage is. I'm going to say that probably 50% of the people who come to us wanting services are a good fit for what we do.
Wow.
It doesn't mean that they wouldn't be a good fit for another matchmaker, though. It just means that maybe we don't have the right kind of people for what they're looking for.
Huh.
And much like the woman who found you at Barney's, how do you find potential matches?
Yeah, so we have a database that people can come and sign up for. But what I've really learned is that most of the smaller matchmakers, we all collaborate together. And that's because we all have access to different people. There's no way to be a good matchmaker. You have to, be able to ascertain what people are looking for and be discerning. And then, of course, you have to have a large enough database. But we're always trying to, connect with single people. We always want to know about good single people. Because
and how many? I don't know if there's just a hard and fast number, but if there's, say, a man looking for a certain type of woman, how many choices would you present them?
It really depends, because usually in the beginning, when you first start working with somebody, you are kind of really getting a sense of what, because now you're putting into practice. Yeah, sure. They've told you this whole laundry list of everything they're looking for. Now you're seeing what they're really attracted to, what's working and what's not working when they're actually going on dates. And you're getting a better sense, because one of the great things about matchmaking in the real world, when you go on a date and you don't hear from the person again, you never know why. Right? You don't know why, maybe they got back together with their ex. Did I say something? Should I have had that fourth glass of wine? You don't know. But one of the great things that matchmakers do is the date coaching part, is the identifying patterns. Because if I hear feedback from one person after a date, I'm not going to take it that seriously. But if I'm now hearing that same feedback from 2, 3, 4 people about how you are on a date, I'm not doing my job if I don't address that with you. Right.
So how deeply uncomfortable is that conversation?
Oh my gosh. It can be extremely uncomfortable depending on what the feedback is. I once had a client, he was in his late 70s and he tried to have sex with all the women on the first date, and he was aggressive and he wanted to have phone sex and like my dad about oh my dad, don't be so creepy, be a little bit more respectful. He was a character. So that's uncomfortable.
Oh,
a character.
God.
Or you're telling
poor women.
Yeah. Or you're telling people, listen, sometimes I think when people go on dates, they should treat it, I think a first date, you should treat it like how you behave on an interview.
Right.
Don't unload you with all your negative stuff. They don't need to know all your ins and outs, and keep it light, keep it happy, focus on things you enjoy doing. Don't do a deep dive. It's not a therapy session.
Right.
You're not with your girlfriends or your guy friends. So there's a lot of times I've just got to give people feedback like that. Like, don't talk about your ex.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because you probably have a fair amount of your clientele, men and women, that are divorced at least once or recently or whatever. And I imagine there's a lot of, first, I imagine they're out of the game for some time, right? Like dating is not familiar muscle activity for them, but then they're probably falling into a lot of common traps.
Totally. And listen, we all understand that, everyone has their past, and, it's not saying that you can't talk about your ex or that you can't ever talk about anything that's real. I just think many times people divulge too much, too fast, and you don't need to do that. It's just like you kind of got to lead with we all want to be around people who are happy and offering good energy.
Yeah.
And sometimes I've also advised people to take a break from dating, because if you're not in a good place, you're not feeling happy, there's things that are going on in your life that are distracting, you could screw it up with someone who could be really great for you because
it's not time. Yeah.
What are some key elements or features that you look for when you're matchmaking? Like, for example, this just popped into my head, like, do divorced people date divorced people better, or like maybe someone who's lost a spouse, you know what I mean? Like to death or whatever, or people who have just been single up until the age of 40 or whatever. Like, are those elements that match well, or is it more interest? Is it more values? What do you find?
Well, that's interesting, because I think that very often people with children are better dating people with children. Not always, but very often, just because there's an innate understanding that, like, hey, my kid's got the flu, I have to cancel the date tonight.
Right.
But
an innate prioritizing.
They totally get that. And that can be easier. Very often widowers are the best, because they didn't have to go, when they lost their spouse, it wasn't their choice, and they didn't have to go through this messy divorce or painful divorce. And very often marriage for them has very happy associations.
Yeah.
So those widowers almost always get married again or get into a relationship again pretty quickly.
Wow. And do you follow the experience? Like you're well aware if the couple ends up getting married.
Oh, you must get invited to lots of weddings.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do. And it's very heartwarming. I mean, I remember years ago in New York, I happened to run into a client I hadn't seen in, 5 years. And he had a little girl with him on a scooter and he was like, look, that's our daughter. And I was
amazing.
tearing up, So it's very, very rewarding when it works out. And it's, very frustrating sometimes when people can't get out of their way. You've got to be coachable. You have to be successful. You got to go into it saying, okay, I'm open to the feedback. I want to hear that. And I want to know what I can do better.
Well, it seems like you at this point, you are sort of a liaison between, the $50,000, concierge service client and the helping the rest of us figure out, how we do this in a normal day-to-day situation, because you're also doing the full dating coaching as well, right?
Totally. And, one thing I have to say that it's kind of funny is, I met my husband on Tinder, which is, I think, hilarious considering, and people are like, what? And you're this millionaire matchmaker and you met your husband on Tinder? It's like, yeah, I did. And I do think that the apps are actually really still a great place to meet people because, unlike when you meet people in real life and you don't know if they're single, mostly, not always, if they're on the apps, they are, and they're looking. And, 40% of relationships start from dating apps.
Oh, so easily. I've mentioned this before, but I went to a wedding one time that they met on Tinder as well. And, they always want to come up with a cute hashtag for their wedding. And theirs was swipe right forever. So it's very normal and it's very, part of our society now. So it's good to know that you embrace it from a professional standpoint and a personal standpoint.
Well, absolutely, because there's the volume of people on there. With a matchmaker, yes, it's very selective, and we're going to present a few people to you at a time, and they're going to be screened. So all of that will have been done, which is great. But if you have time and you want to be more in the driver's seat, I still think the apps are a great place to meet. But I do think that there's things that people should be doing better on the apps.
Like what?
Well, I feel like sometimes, the profiles that people write are so generic. It's like it can, or the photo. If you're going to do it, have good photos. Yeah. Don't even waste your time with photos from 10 years, 20 pounds ago. That's not honest, and that's not going to result in success. So invest the time and the money in getting some good photographs, whether they're, professional or not, but you need to have good photos. And then I think, no one is everyone's cup of tea, nor should you want to be. So be specific in what you're looking for. Who cares if it rules out people? It's going to rule out the people that aren't appropriate.
It's supposed to rule out people.
Right? Embrace whatever it is about yourself. If you're geeky, go with that. Guess what? There's someone that's going to love that.
Yeah.
If you're super into, I don't know, extreme sports, whatever it is, be specific and kind of paint a picture with your words. Don't say like, oh, love restaurants. No, how about, searched LA for the best dim sum spot for the last 2 years
okay.
I love that.
So LA specific question. We got to wrap it up soon, but I'm very curious. How much of a deal breaker is where you live? I.e., was someone from Long Beach gonna not want to date someone from the Valley or from Northridge, not based on class, classism, but the fact that it's going to take an hour and a half to see that person.
That's way too long of a schlep from Long Beach. I'm sorry.
That is such a good question. And that is a LA specific question. That's actually a great question. So, it's funny. So back to my husband, when I met him, he was living in Malibu and I was living in West Hollywood. That's a long distance relationship.
It's over. It's over before it begins.
There's no freeway connecting you.
There's no freeway. PCH. Oh my God. So, I think it really depends on the person, the lifestyle, and how open you are, because some people that is going to be an absolute deal breaker because they're not going to do it. And other people are going to say, I've got flexibility. I'll go when the traffic's not so bad if we meet in the middle. So,
right. Because you both live in LA, but do you really?
But not really.
Both live in LA?
You're on different zip codes. I mean, you're so different. And with the traffic patterns and everything, I think it's really going to be how excited you are about the person. If you're excited about their profile and you have a nice conversation, maybe you're willing to do it. And if you're not, you're probably not even excited to cross the street.
And how amenable are you to moving? Like, do you love Long Beach or Northridge or whatever that thing is? Is it a possibility to, if things go well with the right person, do you end up in a different spot?
Totally. I mean, I think, with the right person, with the two right people together, with the amount of flexibility, people will make things work. It's just are going to have to be aligned in lots of other areas, right? In order for the geography to not be a deal breaker.
So just as a couple of takeaways, for us lay people, that you want to keep a positive attitude. You feel like, and you think you've seen it all. Remember, you haven't seen it all. Be specific. And don't try to be everything to everybody, and stop trying to grope girls on the first date. Did I get them all?
That's pretty good.
I think that's really good. I do. And, and also truly believe one of the things that I've found is super helpful, and it's worked for a lot of clients. It worked for me, is develop a mantra. You know how, like, a lot of times we say to ourselves, oh God, as we're back to that script, oh, all women are gold diggers and all guys are cheaters. How about replace that with something that every time you think the negative, you replace with the positive? For me, it was, the man I'm looking for is looking for me. And I said it so many times that I actually started to believe it. And it actually started to change things, and guys started to appear out of the woodwork. So replace your negative script with a positive script, something that works for you, something that resonates with you, and truly believe that. You got to believe. I mean, listen, if you don't believe you're deserving of love and that the right person's out there, who's going to? So you got to, fake it till you make it and believe it.
And not only do I agree with you, but I can tell you therapeutically, there is science to back that up, because I can't tell you how many times, in therapy, you talk about limiting beliefs, and Gina, can we replace that with an equal but positive and true statement? So you're absolutely right. I mean, and like when you say what you focus on gets bigger, and you'll just get more of it. So why not take a chance and do something good for yourself, as opposed to keeping everyone away and keeping yourself isolated?
100%. And I've seen it work so many times, so I know it works. So yeah, absolutely. People just need to go in with an open heart. We're in a new year, and just truly put themselves out there and believe in the best. The best is yet to come.
How do we find you if you are the only person we trust to shepherd us through this experience?
Well, I'm actually, it's perfect timing, because I'm launching a course called The Fast Track to Love, where I'm basically going to teach people how to be their own matchmakers. I've developed the course, and it's going to be launching next month. And, going through all of the different things. And listen, if people want to be referred to a matchmaker, I'm happy to do that too. But I think that the course will teach you how to be your own matchmaker, and truly how to find love on your own.
That is fantastic. So that will launch in March.
That's launching in March. So that's thefasttracktolove.com. And then the other thing is, a friend of mine and fellow matchmaker is launching a really great idea. It's one-to-one real-time dating coaching. And it can be as short as like a 15-minute session you can book, and you'll get connected with a real life dating coach. And it can either be messaging, phone, or via Zoom. And it can be as easy as something like, oh my God, I don't know what to wear tonight, or I just got this weird response to my text. What do I say? To more in-depth things. And that's called steadydatecoaching.com. And so she's just launched that. So those are things to make it accessible to everybody.
That is such a great idea, because you could call a million girlfriends and you'll get a million different answers, and you will be worse off than when you first picked up the phone.
And so more confused.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And I remember when I was doing this and, going on blind dates and stuff, it was just Like I was ready until I had to put my hand on the door to leave my house. And I was like, I can't do this. I don't want to do this. So to have someone I could put on speed dial and be like, just get me in my car would have been great. I mean, not now. I have a wonderful husband, but I can see how you're ready until it's time to start the car. And you're like, no, I can't do it.
Right. A lot of it is like you need a cheerleader, just someone in your corner that's there supporting you, that can give you good advice. And, so my friend who launched this, her name is Lindsay Rowe. She's a matchmaker, but she said, half the time I was spending was on date coaching, was just answering like these last minute things of like, oh my God, what if I say that? Or what do I wear? Just, and so she's like, I'm going to just do this. It's going to be like Psychic Friends Network, but for
perfect. And for you, fasttracktolove.com is the fasttracktolove.com launching next month. So just check in. We'll just check in with that site periodically.
Yeah. You can enter your email and then we'll send you all the information about how to get connected.
Nice.
Perfect.
Thanks,
oh my
Claire.
God. Claire, this was so much fun.
So much fun. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. Nice talking to you both.
Oh, you as well. And actually, if just on a little, self-promotion side note, if you do find somebody that's worth your time on a date, I would say a great date option would be the Spike Mendelsohn pop-up dinner hosted by LA Magazine. That's Tuesday, March 12th, and tickets are available at lamag.com/events. That actually would be a really great first date because there's enough going on where you're not just staring at each other.
Yeah. Here's my friend Brian. Who are you?
So that's actually something to consider whether you're on a first date or an 84th date. Claire, we would be so honored if you would come back again and just check in with us.
I would absolutely love to anytime.
Oh,
Thanks,
wonderful.
Claire.
All right. Well, we'll get out of here and make sure all of our friends who are single know that, they don't have to be as long as they follow Claire's instruction. And of course, you can find Bryan and I online at Bald Bryan, at Gina Grad. Like, subscribe, tell your friends, do the whole shebang, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thank you for listening to The Bryan and Gina Show. To get in touch with the hosts or buy their books, hit them up at @BaldBryan and @GinaGrad on Twitter and Instagram, or by email at podcasts@lamag.com. To get connected with LA Magazine, hit them up at @LAMag on Twitter and Instagram. Talk soon.